I'm coming at you live at Arlington, in Arlington, at Glowflight Park. And if you haven't heard, I have a new channel out called RJPFILMSTV, and I'll be putting all my videos here, especially for WrestleMania week.
For less than $70 per family, or maybe as cheap as $25. There are some sections where they have no alcohol allowed if their family so requires that. In my case, I like a beer with my hot dog. Okay, what can I say? Anyway, and the reason is very simple. You don't have to buy any food or drink here at all. You can bring it in. It has to be in a soft side cooler, and it has to be in plastic containers. And it can't be alcohol, not because we're cheap, but the state liquor license, which is a state, doesn't allow any outside.
You guys should do this more often. You get to bring your own food here if it's in a cooler or plastic container. Except for liquor. You can't have liquor because the liquor license here. You need to buy your own beer and stuff, but only Fenway Park can do this.
So, we're going to get across the two new things that have been added here are the foul poles. We only had the same foul poles since 1972. We thought a little better.
What do you guys think? It's a cool stadium? I believe so. I love Fenway Park. It's not. I wish it could be bigger. I would definitely like to have a park like this in Boston. But sadly, nobody in Boston wants one right now. We'll be right back and subscribe.
This is a brand new type of grass. It's actually made for the original grass on our field came from Pennsylvania back in '72. But this overhang pushed the shadow so much that we're having the grass die regularly. And this new variety, since they still have the shadow, you can see how green it's broken out of that. And
this place was built in 1994. We celebrated a year ago last April. This ballpark was built with the idea of celebrating ballparks with the golden age of baseball. And I'll point out that the things that go off that you can take. One of the things is the it's tiled, that is, this level is tiled, and that's in keeping with all ballparks. I mentioned that all the suites were named after National Hall of Fame ball players, right? There was one suite that was built and named at the time the suite was built, and the player was not in the Hall of Fame. Boy, they knew he was going to be. Ashley, you guess who that might be? No idea?
Which one?
It's kind of built on the same order as this ballpark. They have their own announcer and everything. The Little League, the Rangers sponsored Little League and Pony League games over there. Very heavily used. Very popular place.
That's Babe Ruth, you know, Ryan's Clubhouse. Sweet or something like that. We're in the press box.
Okay, you are in the Rangers press box. It goes all the way around to the last shaded window that you see over there. This part of the press box is for the written media. This is where the magazine and newspaper people sit. The locals sit up here. The visitors, CEOs of ball players or ballparks, regard visitors as visitors and guests as guests, right? Guests are treated royally. Visitors get what they need and not much more. So, locals are up here, visiting media have to sit up here and use the monitors. Okay?
Nice.
These windows, of course, are shatterproof, but they don't open. This is all silent in here. They don't need the sounds of the game. But if you come around the corner here, next to that window is the audio and visual portion of the press box. That's where Tom Grieve and Eric Nagel and Jim Busby and Matt Hicks and Jared Sadler broadcast the games on radio and TV. And those windows are on tracks. They do open because, of course, people like to listen to the sounds of the ball game, right? Also, Tom Grieve and Jim Busby are former ball players, and they like to try and reach out and grab foul balls. Last year, Grieve was checking out the strength of his arm for his age, and he threw from there down to the pitcher. Threw a ball down to the pitcher. So his arm was still pretty strong. About where the star is on the facade there is the next portion of the press box. That's what we call the technical portion. That's where Chuck Morgan broadcasts the games out here, and his staff handles all of the electronics. The lights, the big board up there, the out-of-town scoreboard over there just to the left of southwest.com, or Southwest, where it says 1124. That used to be a manual scoreboard. Up until about 5 years ago, we had students in there that would physically post the numbers. That was very reminiscent of old ballparks. But when they automated all the rest of this, they did the same to that, so it's all electronic now. The last two windows of the press box, for a long time after this place was built, there was a lady in there who played the organ between innings. Very reminiscent of old ballparks. However, when she retired, they didn't replace her, so it's all recorded now. You can see there are 5 levels to the ballpark. There's 3 main seating levels, and then those glass doors that you see above and below the second seating level are all the 121 suites that go all the way around the ballpark. It's about 114 feet from street level up to the top of the canopy up there. And that white grillwork that you see there is the Rangers' salute to Old Yankee Stadium. That was reminiscent of Old Yankee Stadium. And the area underneath the Jumbotron is the home run porch, and it was patterned after Old Detroit Stadium, Old Tiger Stadium, without the overhang. If you buy a ticket in the upper part of that, they're called all-you-can-eat seats. And for $48, you get your seat and all you can eat, and the rest from above. Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal. Wow.
The white building you see out there is an office building. The very top level is all Ranger management. CEO's office, farthest one to the left. The next two levels down are rented out office suites. There's a lawyer up there, a jeweler, a gas company, an insurance company. For what they pay to rent out those suites, they get a balcony. And they can entertain clients, their employees, have little parties up there and watch ball games. Troy Aikman at one time had a place up there. But of course, when Jerry Will went in over here, he moved over there. The bottom level, from about center out to where you see the Captain Morgan Club, is the kids zone. It's called the Yard. Up until 4 years ago, all the kids' activities were outside. They had a wiffle ball park and a fast pitch area. When we went to the postseason of the World Series in 2010, they found we had over 50,000 people here. It was very crowded back there with all those activities. So after that season, they renovated from about southwest clear over to Nixon Tire over here. And they took all the kids' activities and moved them under glass. It's all air conditioned in there. There's a security guy in there for about $14. You get a little band to put around your child. Set them loose in there. There's 2 levels of activities. They can shoot Nerf balls at one another. It's great fun for them. And they put in the Captain Morgan Club for the benefit of the parents. They can go in and relax too. Okay? The green field that you see above the fence there is grass, but it has a generic name. It's called the batter's eye. And the reason is because the batter and the catcher are looking right straight out that way. And every ballpark has to have an area that is free from any distraction to the batter or the catcher. So they either have no seating, like we do, or they'll cover their seats. Now I understand that in Fenway in Boston, they still allow people to sit in the batter's eye, but at night they have to wear dark clothing. That's the caveat. Okay, the area around the field is made out of crushed brick. And the reason is so when their spikes hit it, it makes a crunching noise. They can feel it and hear it, and they know they're real close to the wall. They better stop, jump, or prepare to hit the wall. It's a warning track. The grass out there is a composite primarily of Bermuda during the summer because that's what thrives in this heat. But this time of year, the Bermuda dies. So what they've done is overplanted with winter rock. And it will stay nice and green until it gets really hot. It'll die, but then the Bermuda's back. So it's always green out there. They mow once a day, every day, and that pattern you see has a specific reason. What they're trying to do is keep the blades of grass straight up and down. Because if you mow in one direction, the blades lean over. If they lean over toward the wall, the ball runs faster. That gives the advantage to the batter. If they lean back this way, that slows the ball down and that gives the advantage to the fielder. So what they'll do is they'll get a mower on this side and a mower on this side and they'll crisscross. All trying to keep the blades of grass straight up and down. And that's the reason why you have that crisscross path. Okay, this ballpark has undergone about 4 major renovations. I've talked about 2 of them already. And then about 5 years ago was the mainly electronic. Where they put in the big Jumbotron, they put in the ribbon board, automated the out-of-town scoreboard, and so on. 4 years ago, 4 years ago was the big one out in center field that I mentioned. 3 years ago, it was right around home plate here. What they did was they took both dugouts, the television bays, and the area around home plate and moved them 3 feet out toward the field. The reason being that the dugouts were a couple of the nearest in baseball. And they also put in a row of pricey seats down there to help pay for it. And just last year, they put the Jumbotron on top of the white building there. The reason being, the people over here couldn't see the Jumbotron that was up here, so they put another one up there so that they will see the same thing as on the big one. And they also put in brand new foul poles. Now up until last year, the foul poles that were here had come over from the old ballpark because of course tradition says that you always bring something from the old and the new, right? Well, those foul poles were still there last year. But when they hung those signs on them, they found that they were starting to wobble. And umpires don't like wobbling foul poles. So after that season, they took those out, cut up pieces and sold them to people, and put in brand new reinforced foul poles. And that's what you see there. Okay, the Rangers dugout is the one we'll go to. It's over here on the first base side. The visitors dugout is over here on the third base side. Visitors bullpen is out there where it says Geico and Hankook. And the Rangers dugout is over there where it says DraftKings, Tire Pros, Snap-on, Mexican Tire. You can see those seats over there. A lot of clubs have the dugouts reversed. Rangers did it for a specific reason. They are visitors, you see. All of this is in the sun. Except for day games, by the time the game starts in the evening, this is all in the shade because the sun comes across this way. And their bullpens in the shade. So there's always a reason. Now one of the things that was interesting to me about this ballpark was that before it was built, or when architects went out to different ballparks to get ideas, they went to Camden Yards, which was just being completed. They sat in the seats and they noticed when they sat in the seats, they looked straight out at the field and had to turn to look at home plate. So they came back and redesigned all the seating here so that any place you sit in the ballpark, you're looking at home plate, where the action is. Okay, any questions, folks? Okay. Excuse me. This cafeteria that you see here when you pass it is for the benefit of the media. They can't bring anything from outside in, so they'll feed them here. We'll pass one suite called the George W. Bush suite. It is the owner's suite. And it does not show a player. It shows that in private with the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra playing the national anthem the very first game was played. That's what's painted.
Hi, George. Got any crackers?
I got Star Wars. Force Awakens. Okay, this is a sample suite right around home plate. They're kind of small. They seat 10 to 20 people because they try and arrange as many of them as possible in a pie shape around home plate. but they get larger as you go further on out. As a matter of fact, if you look across the field, above the second seating level where it says Albertsons and Coca-Cola and Enterprise, above that, above those signs is Ebbets Field, which is a party suite, and they can hold 100 people up there. So they get larger as you go further on out. Each suite has the TV outside. They have at least one inside. They have their own bathroom. It's all pretty well self-contained. Most of the suites are owned, and when somebody buys them on a year-to-year basis, they can furnish them pretty much however they would like, within reason. So some of them are pretty fancy, have a lot of fancy furnishing, have a lot of baseball memorabilia on the wall, and that sort of thing. This one's pretty simple, tables and chairs. The owned suites are served. Delaware North is the company which supplies food and drink for the Rangers. They will have a server up there where that gentleman is. And they have kitchens down the tunnel, bring food up, and the server will serve the folks. Now, some of the suites are rented out on a night-to-night basis. And if you rent out a suite, you can choose whether you want to be served for no money, or you can just bring Ballpark food. These glass doors are on swivels. They will open all the way. We caution people not to do that in the summer because when they do, they lose all their air conditioning. And if they close it up again, it's not going to get cool by the end of the game. But they do it anyway, so that's okay. One of the nice things they did was pad these outside seats this last year. They're not hard like they do on the bowl. I might call your attention to this gray box hanging down here. If you look across the field, you see the car there? Drop down and you see Hyundai. If you follow that line across to the right, you'll see another black box over there. That's part of a system that they put in last year. It's called a tracking system. I understand it's baseball wide, and what it does is it statistically tracks all the activity on the field. I had somebody in a tour last year who said that they had been listening to one of the Rangers games, and Delino DeShields, who was our center fielder, was chasing after a low-sinking liner, and he was traveling at 17 miles an hour. They got that off of that tracking system. They can tell what direction a person's going, how fast he's going, so on and so on and so on. I guess they use all that information for figure fatigue factors of the players. That's one. Who knows? Well, somebody was telling me now that they can, the manager now can get it on a tablet. He can determine all of this statistical data on the tablet. All statistical. Okay? With the last.
Unfortunately, we can't go into the George W. Bush Honor Suite. I just think to see what's in there.
Okay, you're on the Rangers tunnel. It goes all the way from first base to third base. This is Horses of Road. This is part of the sidewalk, I guess. If you look across that dark bend that crosses the road, that's where the umpire's going is, and where everything's on the field. And beyond that, around the corner is where the mystery locker room is, and everything's on the field. And beyond that is where Delaware North has their pictures and all their toys. You're welcome to take pictures in the media room here. I ask only that you do not touch the microphone. Very delicate. If we break one, we won't be able to come in here. Come on in, have a seat. Just have a seat. You can be in the media. after a game, they will have a post-game show in here. The manager will come through that door and you'll see himself here, and that blue banner ordinarily will be hanging down, and he will talk about the game, what was good, bad, and ugly about it. Then he will take questions from the media who are out here, and when those questions get silly or repetitious, he'll just excuse himself and walk out the door. Then the media, certain of the media have permission to go into the locker rooms to interview the players. Players normally don't interview up here unless they're brought by the manager, and sometimes he will bring a player, or they accomplish something big, like the pitcher throws a no-hit game, somebody breaks a long-standing major league record, something like that. They would be interviewed up here. Ordinarily, they're interviewed in the lockers. Okay, they are introduced up here, however. Whenever a new player joins the Rangers, that's the second primary purpose of this room, they will hold a press conference. All of that stuff on the wall goes to all the channels and the stations in the Metroplex. They'll have a press conference here. The manager will sit on, general manager on one side, team manager on the other, player in the middle. They give him his jersey and his hat. The media are writing up all the columns and so on. And that's how a new player is introduced to all the Texas fans. About a month or so ago, Chirinos was leaning up against the wall there, and his 10-year-old son was hitting off the tee. Rangers also sponsor Little League and Pony League players. So sometimes we brought tours down here, and the Little Leaguers in here, looking out the
Rangers batting.
in addition to their own movement. Everything in this room.
This is the Texas Rangers locker room. This is the field.
Players might know they're designated, the player will sit on that bench for most of the time. They're just hanging over there for a while.